How can we unlock the potential of scientists, foster strong communities, and lead a philanthropic endeavor? These are the questions we explored with Kotryna Stankutė-Jaščemskienė. Kotryna has an incredible skill to bring people together and is always eager to share her knowledge. As the current director of Marius Jakulis Jason Foundation, she's at the forefront of a remarkable journey. This organization supports scientists and entrepreneurial individuals financially in their research and ventures. The foundation also assists Lithuanian students in pursuing their studies at prestigious international universities. Before her role at MJJ, Kotryna served as the head of Global Lithuanian Leaders, which is a network uniting Lithuanian professionals across the globe. Kotryna, thanks so much, first of all, for accepting the invite. It's really
Thanks for the invitation.
it's really nice you found time to join us in your busy schedule, so we really appreciate that. We really probably just now want to dive into your background and probably what a day in a or a month in a director of a fund looks like.
Well, it's actually it's very interesting that yesterday I also got to reply some questions for the magazine, and they had exactly the same question. So, what the day of the director of the fund looks like, or like what the job I would say it looks like. So it's similar questions, and I would say that like any other responsibility or job, mostly most of the time is dedicated for administrative stuff. I like I say, I love creating concepts and creating this you know demo versions and starting the stuff and developing the projects first time. But unfortunately later everything goes about managing it and sustainability, right? How do you run stuff through the time so that it grows and becomes better and better and better. So my work actually really is related to thinking what the where the foundation should go, right? As an organization, as a um, philanthropic fund. Um, Definitely working with the founders, with Marius, his family, the board. Basically, they're busy people, so we meet few times a year regarding the fund, but I see them very often regarding other questions, right? Because Vilnius is small and I get involved in many other stuff with them. Um, and also, foundation has these calls for applications for the science, for the knowledge, for the entrepreneurship uh, uh, sections of our activities. So the selection of people, inviting the jury to look through the candidates, and engaging the board to make a decision, and interviews. And the last but not the least, and I would say very important, is actually building the community, because the community, as I see, is this a huge additional value what any organization like us could do, not only giving support or funding and saying, okay, you do your stuff, bye. You wanted money, here it is, right? It's about connections. It's about bringing those people who return to Lithuania together so that they can kind of form this support group to each other, or share the connections, and we can talk it later. But some of the scientists already, because of that, wrote share project or applications for funding, and a lot of beautiful conversations and stuff is happening because people come together time to time when I I invite them, or they also meet by themselves. But it's important. So we coming to the beautiful number of 100 people, and I think next year we're going to reach this this number as more and more people every year get our funding or investments. And the last thing is communications, of course. So I'm glad I have like communication partner who help me with the social media or articles, but most of the content definitely because I'm the connection between them, the this small PR boutique agency and the community. I'm the one to bring the news, so what we should talk about. So that's and plus other stuff, but this is it.
Yeah, there are so many topics, and I think we will discuss quite a few of them. But coming back to you and your journey, so what motivated you to accept this job offer? What still motivates you? Like how this journey, yeah, like how did you become a manager? Can you tell us a little bit more about that part?
It's like around 12, I think it's already 12 years ago, I returned from Singapore, where I was working for a couple of years at this Asia Euro Foundation, like intergovernmental body dedicated to connect Asia with Europe. It is directly related to ASEAN ministers, ASEAN and ASEAN countries and European Union countries ministers meeting, and what the agenda comes down to this body to be delivered, to become um, to become reality. So I was very lucky to gain experience there. And when I returned to Lithuania, I was looking for a meaningful job. And first of all, I was lucky uh, to be conscious about the importance of networking, and met because of that I met one great Lithuanian innovator and definitely a connector, Vladas Lašas, who actually invited me to apply to this position to become the director of Global Lithuanian Leaders, this network of Lithuanian diaspora or global Lithuanians who are not based in Lithuania, but they care about the country. They want to do something for it. And because of that, my network exploded. I was really in the very good position between those global ones and people here in Lithuania. And my job was basically to find the interesting professionals who I could connect with local, authorities, business people, youth, politicians, government, and so on and so on. So I became like a middleman for middle woman for these beautiful connections about investments, mentorship, in advising and so on and so on. So like there were like definitely a lot of business people, a lot of scientists involved, um, and also I met there Marius, because he was the Marius, I'm talking about the founder of this philanthropic foundation where I'm working now. So it happened around 7 years ago in one of the events which I organized for the community to meet the Nobel Prize laureate Robert Schiller, who was visiting Lithuania as he's a Litvak. And I met Marius and realized that he's the target audience because as an American Lithuanian, he moved to Lithuania in '90s when Lithuania regained independence. And then and when we kept in touch, and when after a couple of years, when Marius with the family decided that um, the portion of money he wanted to leave with his goodwill, right, after his death, he wants to do it now because of his wise wife who said, "Do it now. It will be much more interesting than leaving it for someone after your death." They invited me to become the director of the foundation because they saw the importance of connections for this starting point of new organization, to be able to source and choose the right people for actually for the portfolio of Philanthropic Foundation. So that's my way, and I said yes. Because I led the Global Lithuanian Leaders for 6 years, and it was, I guess, time to leave it for someone else. So I was very glad that universe sent me this opportunity to work with the fund, and I'm here 5 years already.
So in a way, it was like a very lucky encounter because you already were a community builder. So about community building, what differences do you notice? Let's say now you are probably more working with scientists, researchers. Are there any like kind of in your head any approaches or like things you notice you should be kind of thinking about when building this particular community and connecting them, yeah, maybe to business people, to other like interesting people, or maybe it's still the same kind of approach?
I would say it's more or less like there are few layers of community building, I believe, right? First of all, it's humans, right? And humans are social beings, although some of us are more introverts, some of us more extrovert. It's for introverts, it's like you need a little bit more intimate environment, right? And then more like a smaller groups. For extroverts, everything is goes fine, right? But it's in general, people, as I observed, like meeting other people, especially if the environment is like set in the right way. That in it's not like random people. It's like people of members of this like laureates community. So by default, they feel that okay, I know I can connect to this person because we somehow were selected for this. So the same is for any other associations, right? You become a member, so like initiation happens, so you feel like that. Not it's much better than just a random anonymous business conference, right? Where you go and try to somehow guess to which person you could connect. So this common ground and in general, like some special events dedicated to meat is one thing, right? Another thing is mm, as a manager, as the one who I actually lead the selection process or interviews, or I read the applications actually. And this becomes this very important tool for me to understand who may be interested to connect with whom, right? So I also bring this another level of taking a hand of one person, especially the new one who just joined, because every year we have new people, saying, okay, this young lady just graduated from artificial intelligence masters in Oxford, right? And the scientist is working with new models of AI here in Lithuania in genetics, for example. I don't know, as example. So you must meet, right? And then they talk half of the evening, and I'm happy because I made a good match. Otherwise, they might not even meet in that room of 50 people. So like building, and then the it's also this like you don't do that once a year. You do it like at least 5 or 6 times a year, so that people get used to the coming to the circles and seeing each other, and then things happen. So for me, it's like consistency, uh, bringing people which I see should meet together, and in general, creating the platform to meet.
Yeah, you already started talking a little bit about the matching and so on. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you actually select the talents who apply for this? Because there is like one scholarship, right, that you give scientists to come back to Lithuania and work on their projects,
Yes.
correct? So so how do you select what are your criteria? What are the characteristics that you're looking for?
Okay, so first of all, like, it is important to mention that MJJ Foundation was created to um, to su- to financially support people who want and are able to create Lithuania. It's like are able to contribute to Lithuanian economy. That was the initial idea of Marius. Then we came up with three directions. One is entrepreneurship, to invest or to educate or to give loans, microloans to the entrepreneurs. Uh, we also invest and support organization which trains the school kids to be entrepreneurs while they still at school. A second direction is to send the youth to study masters at the best world universities with the agreement that they would come back at least for 3 years in 5 years time to contribute those knowledge to back to Lithuania. And the third one is science, and we see the huge added value of innovators and researchers returning to Lithuania after the PhD uh, was complete somewhere at the top world universities, and they return with all the connections, experience, written articles, vision of what they want to do next. Some maybe even sometimes already received fundings, and with all potential added value, we see them here in Lithuania creating intellectual properties, maybe as business spin-offs in the future if it's more like not only like fundamental science. It's about teaching, lecturing for students, which is not obligatory for the postdoc or scientist, but it's a beautiful contribution to raise the next generation, or at least to invite a couple of students to work with them in labs. So it's also like writing projects for the international funds, which Lithuanians are not very yet, like Lithuanian scientists are not leading in actually writing international European Union projects for the funding. That's why this internationally trained scientists are a little bit better than the local ones, and we don't see that these local ones are somehow worse than the international ones. It's just that it's different set of skills, sometimes different attitude, more connections, and we see it as an added value. So this basically what I mentioned. These are the selection points for us when we value and also this I would say also the directions and spheres of what we like priority areas. So we look into the physical sciences, informatics, biomedical sciences, engineering, health, uh, technological sciences, and veterinary sciences, which is, I would say, takes the number one priority, and social sciences or humanity sciences goes next, for the same reason that we look into spheres where we think this economical value could be created. But there could be, like a huge discussions and debate which actually area of science or scientist itself brings the most value. So it's just our view for this first years of the foundation. We shall see what's happening in the next 5 years probably, and then it could change because it's a live body like this foundation.
And what about startups? What are the criteria for startups? Because you mentioned three steps, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? We started in this entrepreneurship direction. We started with investing into the startups, and there were like basically two type of startups. One edtech, which can create added value for our education and, well, Lithuanian and the world in a best case scenario, and another one which helps people to find a job or to get some kind of extra income, especially for the unemployed ones. So, for example, like this gig workers platform, um, task Taskly, by Traxlo company, which helps, I don't know, students or mothers or even elder people to go to the shops and do small tasks, and then get money. It's like the same with Uber, Bolt, Walt, and any other similar platforms. Also, this edtech, startups, which is DigiClasse for tutoring online, choosing the best teachers and making this tutoring um, uh, available for any kid in the region who is not, for example, rich enough to have private lessons. So they join in the groups, and they kicked off very successfully during the COVID as a help for kids and schools, and doing well. And some others, teaching mathematics. Which we really need to become better in Lithuania. But actually, like this January, we talked with the board, and the son of Marius, Antanas, who is also involved, which is very nice because it's already next generation who cares about the foundation. Said, we were like talking with him and the board, that is it really that we're making an impact with the fund investing small tickets into this startups right next to the VCs? It's just like probably good for our investment strategy, because all the money of the fund, 3.5 million, it became a investment portfolio, right, to grow the fund, that we can have it forever, not like I spend it in 10 years and that's it. And we were discussing that actually probably not really that we can make the impact, and what could be the other form. And Antanas came up with a good question: what if we try the microloans in Lithuania, right? Microloans tool, because you can get small loans from the credit unions or and the banks, but actually the problem is that they don't really they're not really interested in the small family businesses and social businesses. So that's how in the new tool for us to make the impact was born this spring. It's called MJJ Foundation Microloans Program. So we already had one round. We had a call for applications that around 30 companies applied, like small family businesses and social businesses, and we have 4 laureates who already received the microloans, up to 12,000 euros with the small interest fee. So, like, again, right, the new format to see if this way we can probably create more impact for, let's say, regional entrepreneurs, or for example, I don't know, single moms or foreigners who start their businesses here in Lithuania and can actually really do a change in the environment.
We do actually wanted to talk about the strategy, and I think we will come to that. But before that, are scientists and researchers interested in entrepreneurship, like spinning off their research, and what is like the legal basis? I would assume it's still maybe quite difficult in the sense that there are like setbacks probably, but more generally, are researchers thinking about this actually?
Very good question. Like, we all different people, and I guess a lot of there are a lot of different attitudes and skills and characters, even among our scientists who received funding from MJG Foundation. So, for example, from 40, we already have one. We have few who are working with business, and actually they applied science is dedicated to make some I don't know, um, technical stuff which is needed for business better, more efficient, and so on and so on. So maybe it's a question of time when they're gonna file the patent or like come up with this spin-off. We already have one scientist who is very much entrepreneurial, and I don't know, it's her personal skill or training of Oxford or I should ask her actually why, but as a human, as a personality, she's has those skills of wanting her science to become real products. So she's already registered her company and working on some interesting stuff. And actually, we definitely remind and support our scientists, saying like, guys, if you anytime need a consulting on IP law, or how to do it, or is it worth doing or checking the ideas, let me know, because when Marius moved to Lithuania from US, the first company he created was IP law, AAA law, which is if I'm not mistaken, this year it's already 30 years old, right? So it has accumulated a lot of experience, and I think last year and this year it was selected as the best IP law company in Baltics, Eastern Europe. So like we give this free consultations, right? Also, there are more and more ecosystem like members of ecosystem in Lithuania who actually provide acceleration for scientists' ideas. So Baltic Sandbox is one of those accelerators which focuses from last year only to deep tech, only to scientists, with the hope to have the nice pipeline of sprouting startups from scientific ideas. And I think they're doing a great job, and some others, right? And I meet more and more VC or business angels who understand better although they not really understand sometimes the content, because the science is it requires deep knowledge of some fields. It's impossible that entrepreneur accelerator would know, right, everything, but with the right set of people, advisors, jury selection committee, mentors, they can really spot those talents and the ideas which are the next big things. So from, I think, this last 5 years in Lithuania, I saw that from zero means that universities doesn't really care or do a bad job about encouraging and helping to file the ideas for the intellectual property, is like those or creating startups from VCs don't really understanding what is deep tech and being afraid of putting the leg into this. and like zero accelerators for scientists, zero education in terms of entrepreneurship for scientists in universities, I see the tremendous change, and it's only 5 years. So Lithuania is really catching up, and I'm happy to be. I don't know, like I'm happy to lead this foundation, which is, I think, a valuable member of this ecosystem.
So you already started talking about it, but just to come back, so what is the long-term vision for MG Foundation? Because now you mentioned quite a lot of topics, and yeah.
So I would say that the long-term vision that all these people which who receive the funding, right, let it be scientists or young, education-seeking professionals or entrepreneurs, that they succeed in their field. That's and then if they succeed, right, if they succeed, they bring value to Lithuanian economy. So we have some impact tracking criteria in place already, right? Which is, I think, for many organizations like us, it's the most difficult part, because impact tracking is a long term. So, although many people ask, so what's in it? I mean, like, so what did you manage to change already? But 5 years is a very small amount of time, so we can only value this impact made, like directly, like, okay, people created a job place, attracted this much money, um, attracted a PhD student, right, to work with from abroad, wrote 5 articles or whatever, like I don't know, created startup, but actually the real impact, if the foundation managed to track it long term, we're gonna see it after, in the next 10 years. So for example, the dream, I wouldn't say the goal, because you cannot really control it. It's about people who you trust, and they do their best. But the dream is that I would say, like 5% of scientists who receive our grants create some kind of a spin-off, which grows into the company and brings value, economical value this way, or I don't know, attracts um, large sums of European Union funding to the research, create labs here, joint labs with foreign universities. And at the same time, the same is with entrepreneurs, that they succeed, their businesses, um, um, survive after those few first years. And this is our expectation. We don't have KPIs of like the clear KPIs of 1,000 people creating something in 100 years. And this is I guess the beauty, right? And also I think we talked with the board of the foundation many times about this, but they conscious of that we don't sometimes you don't need the numbers of KPIs to have the in place for the vision of such kind of the philanthropic foundation. It's just that, general understanding where is the focus. So so short answer, no, we don't have a vision. It's more about hope. Well, it's a vision, yes, I guess, right? But it's really trust in people we select, that they one or another way gonna do a great job.
No, actually, I think you do have a vision, but that vision probably also like evolves and adapts as you go, and you will continuously like draw probably inspiration from people that you see, and yeah, so I think you do have a vision. But yeah, it's like you said, it's yeah, it's very tricky to assess that impact, right? Like social impact, and maybe on that note, very briefly. So yeah, how did you look up like innovation studies and like some metrics, or what was the thinking actually when you are thinking, okay, how do I assess my work?
You mean like my work as a director or a foundation?
No, as a foundation, as a body, like because you are mentioning, okay, like spin-offs, number of published studies, blah, blah. So this is, I think, typically what you see a lot in the kind of also innovation studies that's like more like government stuff that they want to assess the impact. But so there's this quantitative part, but there is also more maybe qualitative part that comes down to people. So when you started out, what as a group, all the people who are involved, how were you think about this topic?
I would say that when we sat down for the first meetings with Marius, his family, and the board of the foundation to kind of decide on what foundation gonna do with those money to reach this goal of supporting people who want to create and are able to create Lithuania. Marius had the initial idea of supporting business entrepreneurs and students, and I brought this idea of supporting researchers, scientists, and attract them to return to Lithuania. Because when I was leading Global Lithuanian Leaders for 6 years, we constantly had the discussions about that. And we had like this at the end of the year GLL forums. One of the topics, one of the tracks was always dedicated to scientists, right? So it's like sitting together with local universities, international Lithuanian scientists, like foreign scientists, to talk like what we can do to actually attract more talent, more brains to Lithuania. And there were definitely a lot of small problems that weighed them away or doesn't really help to make a decision to return. And definitely one of those is like small salaries at national universities. And I would say at that point I had um, quite important knowledge to suggest this direction to create a tool or um, yeah, to create a tool to bring those talents to Lithuania, not really reading some kind of a research, but having this qualitative number of qualitative interviews, right, and discussions happened. So that was based on few years of personal experience. And I would say that, for example, creating this microloans program this year, I already definitely was engaged in some heavy reading, picking up this international practices, where it works, why it works, in what form, and details it should be shaped that it would work. So it like in this foundation work, we definitely combine these two elements, I think.
I imagine that besides the financial means, perhaps you have other routes of making an impact or helping those people or startups who actually you fund. So, what are other ways how you make an impact?
So, good question. I think like one the bigger scope, which we um, we also see as a goal for our foundation, as a part of the vision, is to actually promote the culture of giving and promote the culture of sharing in Lithuania. Definitely, there are more and more entrepreneurs, business leaders, the same scientists who are ready to share the profit and doing that. But somehow, unfortunately, a lot of them doing it silently. And this is also, it it is a debate, should we do it loud, or should we promote what we do, or should we do it quietly? And both answers are okay. It's just that society needs to see the leaders and someone who is doing loud um, philanthropy, right? Loud, I mean like just sharing to whom you gave the money, right? And what happened. So it is one of the ways we also go. That's why we have the website, social media. That's why we present those people, and interviews with Marius. Why it's great and nice to give. Why he enjoys the philanthropy, although before this philanthropic fund he was not known as a philanthropist. So it's also about this, you try, you see, and then you love it, right? So it's like encouragement for others who are not in this field yet. So I would say this is another, right, kind of topic for us and a tool to make a change. And talking about the community and empowerment and of the community to do what they can do is, like I mentioned, one is like financial support, funding or investment grants, scholarships. The second layer is bringing them together, because beautiful things can happen if people are together. And the third thing is like our connections and mentorship. Uh, so we can definitely, if they ask, or we see where we can, that we could contribute, we always bring them with them mentors, experts who can actually empower them, at least with the advice. At the same time, give the clue on certain points. So the same, connecting them with the same accelerators, or let's say those receivers of mm, microloans. They we ask them, so accept the money, right? What else would help you to develop your business? And then connecting with the lecturers, and let's say from Vilnius Business College, or connecting with experts I know personally from, let's say, government, so which works with tourism because they needed that, and so on and so on. So um, yeah, and also this, talking about them like an extra value, I think for some of them the publicity also works well, like a scientist or students or entrepreneurs, especially for business. Our channels of communication, articles that we write, posts, also brings, visibility, and visibility is most of the time is valuable.
Yeah, actually, on the topic of kind of silent versus louder philanthropy, I also wanted to ask, because I had this question: do you think actually the fact that now there is sort of also wealth being created through technology like entrepreneurship, that do you think does it actually correlate to the will it correlate to the number of like organizations that give away on like philanthropic organizations, like not, I don't know, not per se in Lithuania, but let's say Europe? How do you see, is this like really kind of this positive correlation that the more wealth there is, the more wealthy individuals, the more like there will be these initiatives, or too optimistic? I don't know.
I think the giving culture definitely is becoming the matter of masses, not only, like it used to be 100 years ago, only for the super ultra rich kings, dukes, and or industrialists, right? Those few. I think the giving already is this a part of the family cultures, at least in Lithuania. Understanding that giving is, you don't need to give thousands. You can give 10 or 100, right? And it also can make an impact. It really depends on human, on the family, on an organization which communicates. But talking about the technology businesses, it's a very good question, and I've been researching on that, reading about that, talking to people, and what tendencies I see, at least in Lithuania, right, and Estonia, because I had a couple of talks with them. Startups in general, they are ambitious people, right, who are eager to achieve the highest results. They also very most of the time very impact focused in philanthropy as well. So in Lithuania, what we see that a lot of startups, they give money to not to the vulnerable groups, but they do this impact investing into the education, because it's quite a pragmatic investment, because not investment in social investment, right, impact investment, which is it's a kind of a strategic philanthropy, because they need the new talents for the future employees, pipeline of the employees. And also definitely the some of them already have kids, and they see the situation right, and they want the best for their kids, so it's a combination, right? But tech entrepreneurs, they are very conscious about the impact. It's not like giving money for those who in need, but giving fish, but creating the fishing rods for the next generation to be better equipped, to be tech savvy. Not only kids, teachers as well, right, who prepare those kids for life. So for example, there is this project, Teachers Lead Tech, not project, is startup. We first we donated 30,000 euros together with the members of Unicorns Association. The Unicorns Association is association for leading and fast growing startups, which already on the path to become unicorns. Some of them are, or some of them believe they're gonna be. And they were collecting, I don't remember, 300,000, I think, or similar sum for this Teachers Lead Tech startup. It's a startup, but it's also a social project, right? To reach and educate, train more teachers for the first graders, first grades, to be able to teach, integrate tech tools and technology while teaching kids, right? Which is very important to set the right basics for the school kids. So first it was it was like a donation for this Teachers Lead Tech, and all other philanthropies were tech startup leaders. And later we participated also in investment round for this social tech startup. And now they are already going into working in the US market as well. So this is just one example. There are plenty of ones in Estonia, and I believe in other countries. But just to make a quick summary, again, I believe that tech startup leaders, they are focused on impact investment, impact philanthropy to strategic areas.
So, what do you think about collaborative funding or investment? Would it magnify the impact?
Yeah, I think it's on one hand, it sounds like it's obvious, right? More money, more impact, but at the same time, the downside very often of this collective funding or philanthropy is that nobody takes the lead of actually helping this receiver of the funding or investment to act wisely with the money, or to actually take it and go to the direction where they wanted. But I think it's most of the time there is lead investor who takes care of everything. So the downside is not very, 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 I don't know, not damaging very much this concept of collective investment. So I really believe in joining efforts, and actually MJJ Foundation is um, even when giving grants to individuals, right? We say we want to be half of the funding, right? So it means like if the student has some kind of personal investment or already like fundraised from, well, I know family, other philanthropists work hard to save the money. We want to help him and contribute, not like I did nothing and I want all the money from the foundation. Like this endeavors and extra mile what they do, as the same with scientists, right? This like our deal is that they have to be employed by local universities, so like we double what they can receive as a salary up to 2 years from the university. It's not like we're giving 100%, and it's I think it's a beautiful concept because it means that uh, more parties are interested in the section. I mean, in success of these people, as well as startups. You know, like I mean, they collect money from other sides, or those entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs. They put their own, of course, time and money, and then we come to double or to add this extra. So for us and for Marius as a personality, it's very important this, well, 50-50 or core co-creation, co-funding. And actually as an investor, he learned his lesson that like quite some decades ago, that if you put the money like in the big percentage in this deal, right? And it's only you who invest, or others come with a very small part. So only you care about the success, and only you take the bigger responsibility. So for some time already, he only goes to the deals where it's, you know, like shared 50-50, or his part is smaller. And also it brings very interesting people around you, right, when you do these kind of stuff. So in his investment projects, a couple of years ago he started these funds where he puts, for example, I don't know, 30% of funding or buys the land, and then the fund collects another 10 or 20 or 30 investors in the smaller sums and build a building, for example, on that land. So it's like a shared investment project where everybody risks only a part. And like I say, you meet interesting people. And that's the way also the fund, for the sustainability, we follow this kind of philosophical line.
And have you ever had international collaborations? Because it's also interesting how the landscape like of philanthropy looks like in Europe, or yeah, you also spent some time in Asia.
Actually, like the first 5 years was mostly focused on Lithuania. Although definitely, you know, you follow some funds abroad and see what they're doing. But actually, my personal goal as a director of the fund, I really would love this next year to find a community of philanthropists in philanthropic funds in Europe. I already connected also with my former colleague. This is a nice network. My former colleague from Asia Foundation, who is actually leading one of the employees, the team members Southeast Asian philanthropist community and association. I recently had a call with Estonian fund Good Deeds, which doing a great stuff. So it's, I guess it's always like that. You first you do your job, you see what's happening, what's going well, what's need to be changed or developed, and then look around, get out of your box, and I'm really excited to find some interesting, I guess, community and then partnerships to do great things. It's just that important thing. This foundation is really dedicated for Lithuania. It's not that we probably anytime soon start this international funding projects.
And perhaps, as a closing remark, what is the future of philanthropy looks like? And if you have also any ideas about the role of technology, how do you think it's going to be transforming? Because now it's possible that totally like unknown individuals come together and they can finance stuff. So do you have any ideas on that?
Well, I in um, in the recent years of this, geopolitical turbulences and COVID and other things, which is really giving us restless time in terms of what's happening, and in terms of the action we all have to make and contributions we have to make. I see that this giving index, this giving skill is actually was really activated very much. So people gave a lot to the vulnerable groups which were affected, and still giving, to for example Ukraine, for the victims of the conflict between Israel and Gaza, right? I mean, it's the problem is that people as a humans, they sometimes tend to get this topic fatigue or giving fatigue, right? And then okay, I gave so much, again a problem, right? I need to save for my family, so I'm not gonna give now. I did enough, right? So it's a threat which can in this turbulent times, right? If this not gonna stop soon and give us a break to rest a little bit, we can see the drop of the giving or philanthropy. I'm talking in terms of the big picture, and I spoke with this platform Aukok LT, which is actually this crowdfunding for social projects platform, uh, empowered by technology, right? And I think already 10 years old, if not more. But it's realistic because of the, I mean, it exists because of the technology empowerment, right? To do this shared funding. So they said they noticed the drop of funding after all this active funding of Ukrainians and so on. It's like it's a bit sad, but I mean it's normal, right? It's everything is wavy in the world, I believe. But in general, this ability to contribute and how the philanthropic organizations and communicate to the society, right? The ability to build trust, ability to show what happened with your money, right? It's like the skill to be transparent. I mean, everything develops and grows fast, so this is amazing, and definitely with the help of technology, right? And I believe that I'm optimistic person in life, so I think that we are getting more and more educated, especially in Lithuania, right? We always felt more like as funding receivers than actually philanthropists, because the rest of the world, I mean, the Western world is rich, and we are, just like creating our economy, which was like a few decades ago. But now I think Lithuanians started to be active philanthropists, and with some small breaks or drops, I think it's gonna grow. This consciousness gonna grow, and not, I mean, and in Europe in general, it's gonna happen. It's gonna grow. I believe ability to the community's ability to join forces and actually to help to solve very important problems which governments cannot do with their funding. That's the main motivator and the main mission for the people, just to understand how the change can happen with the small amount that they can give, and the communication between funding collectors, these NGOs, and humans who give is crucial. Like anywhere else, right? Communication, communication, communication. So I'm optimistic from what I see, and maybe my bubble is maybe I'm lucky enough to be in my bubble, but it's quite it's very positive.
I think that's a very nice closing remark. And let's hope in future it's going to grow and grow with giving culture, uh, either by financial or other means. So, first of all, I would like to thank you, Kotryna, for actually giving us your time. That is,
Thank you for inviting me next to your very, very interesting other speakers.
yeah, it was a great conversation, and we got to know a lot about philanthropy, where it's going future, and what are yeah, like this the kitchen behind the doors and how things work. So thank you very much for the conversation.
And one very important
Yes.
thing, like announcement, right?
Yeah, sure.
That like a couple of weeks ago, we already opened the call for applications for postdoc researchers. So we are looking forward to receive this application from those who are eager to return up until 15th of January. And you can find all the information at mjj.lt. There is an English version as well, because we're not only looking for Lithuanians but for foreigners as well.
Cool. We will make sure to sort of highlight this also when we promote this. So for sure, for sure. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you so much for actually talking with us.
Nice to see you, girls.